Gavin, welcome to Melbourne.
So happy to be here. I love this city. Whenever I get to come out, I always have an incredible time. And PAX Australia is something I've wanted to come to for years. Literally, I've been talking about it with the Wizards team for 6 years, something like that now. So to finally make it happen is a real dream for me.
You've been here quite a few times, but this is your first PAX.
First PAX Australia. I've done every other PAX, but not this one. And so I finally get to come and check it out and see what it's all about. I mean, I know the community in Australia is really strong. And so to go to a convention where, I mean, literally the motto is welcome home, right? Like everyone comes here from across Australia. And I think it's gonna be really special and I can't wait to go tomorrow.
So what's the verdict so far? How's the weather? What are you feeling?
I come from Seattle, and it's kind of about the same vibes, honestly, where you never know every 5 minutes what the weather's going to be. That's what I'm used to, so it works out pretty well, I'd say.
You're obviously very busy. Like I've walked in the room, and you're organizing big things for PAX. What can people expect?
Okay, we got a lot going on. I'll give you the highlights. The thing I'm most excited about, very special to me, is I get to do the keynote speech. So tomorrow at noon, tomorrow being Friday, at noon I get to do the keynote speech for PAX, which is honestly a huge honor and very humbling. I've cooked up something I'm very excited about. It's a talk called 15 Years, 15 Lessons, where I talk about 15 things I've learned over 15 years at Wizards, which I think is a pretty fun talk. Some other things I'm really excited about happening though, is I've got the Pauper Bash happening Saturday night. Pauper is one of my favorite ways to play Magic. It only lets you use common cards. So common cards throughout Magic's history. It's a very accessible format, and Australia hasn't done a lot with Pauper in the past. And this event has had this huge groundswell of excitement. I've had so many creators reach out to me saying they're going to come and play in it. So I'm really stoked to see that happen. And then, of course, also on Friday, we have the big Commander Showdown, where me, Ruby plays, Graham, who is base deck department, and Iffy and Wadway are going to play a live game of Commander on stage with Riley Knight on commentary. It's a bunch of Magic greats and Titans all in one place. We're going to have a full crowd of people. We're going to have cheering sections and teams. It's going to be a blast. So those are just a few of the things I'm doing. I've got signings and panels and maybe some special surprises, but those are a couple of highlights for me.
Excellent. Well, you have been with Wizards a while now, but your career before that was more playing Magic professionally. How did you transition into this career that you've established yourself in now?
Yeah, I have kind of an interesting story. I started playing Magic when I was 10 years old. I fell in love with the game. And by the time I was 11, I decided I wanted to go make Magic cards. That was going to be my job. And I was 11 years old, and I grew up in Seattle, and I went to a local event, and the vice president of game design was there. And I walked up to him, and I was like, hey, I'm ready. Like, bring me in, hire me, And he looks at me really seriously, and he's like, okay, kid, you're going to need two things. And the first thing he says is you're going to need a college degree. And my heart just sinks. I'm like, oh, come on, man. It's going to take forever to get one of those. But the second thing he says is you should be really good at Magic because we have to hire people that know Magic really well. And I was like, I don't know about this whole college degree thing, but a pro Magic player, like anybody could do that. That's got to be easy. So I dedicated myself to those two things. I qualified for my first pro tour when I was 15. I started college when I was 16. I graduated when I was 20. And within a year, I was hired by Wizards. Basically, it's my dream job. And I think a lot of people say the words dream job very, yeah, I got my dream job. But this is really, when I was a child, this is exactly the job I wanted. And I worked hard to get here. And now I've been doing it ever since. And I love it. And I hope I get to do it forever.
When you were 11, what made you think, I want to make Magic cards? Did you think I could make better Magic cards? Or what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I think it just sounded so fun. Like, I thought it would be such a fun thing to do, and I loved the game so much that I kind of felt this urge to contribute to it. It's kind of a funny story. Once I decided this, I would have friends over for sleepovers, right? I'd be like, hey, we're getting together at my place for a sleepover tonight. Except it was actually all a ruse. Because what would happen is they would show up, and I'd be like, great, what we're doing tonight is designing a Magic set, and I would give them all assignments, and we would all design cards together. And then overnight, my mom would print them all up, and we would play them the next morning. I was doing this at 11 and 12 years old. So it was really, and I was like, this is sick, it's so much fun, right? And of course, the cards I designed were horrible and disastrous, and none of those cards should ever see the light of day, really. But even from a young age, the idea of doing this was really appealing to me. When I say it out loud sometimes, I'm like, that's just crazy, right? Like that's just like not a real thing. That's like a story you read somewhere, but it's something I've always really wanted to do, and I just fell in love with this game so much.
It's safe to say the cards that you made when you were 11 are vastly different than the cards you're designing now.
Yeah, pretty much. I do one very special story, which is when I started at Wizards, I started in October, almost exactly 14 years ago from this interview. And I came back home for American Thanksgiving in November. And my mom's like, I have a gift for you. And she hands me this box of all the printed up cards she found. She kept them all from when I was a kid, from when I was 11, 12, 13. I was doing these sleepovers. She kept them all in a blue box. And she gave them to me. And I was looking through them and just like, they're ridiculous, right? They're absolutely outrageous beyond words. But I get to one and I'm like, actually, this might be good. And I go back to the office and I talk to the lead designer after the break. The set I'm working on, Gatecrash, and he puts it in the set, and it goes all the way to print, and it's like a little love letter from my 11-year-old self to being printed out there in the world. It's not a very good card. It's called Serene Remembrance. It's a single green mana, and it'll let you shuffle it and 3 cards from your graveyard into your library. Wasn't the strongest thing, but it's very special to me to get this card printed that I came up with when I was a kid.
And now you're traveling the world presenting Magic to the masses.
Yeah, I hope to inspire the next person like me, right? I hope that someone can see this and see what I do and hear the story and be like, yeah, I'm 10 and I also could do that someday. Because, when you start at it and you're young, it just gives you such a leg up.
So over 30 years of Magic, it's changed a lot since it first began. Yeah. We've now got decks with Spider-Man, and then we've done Lord of the Rings, and there's so much more to come. Can you speak to the modernization of Magic the Gathering and how we've managed to, I think it's stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah, it is wild, right? We're over 30 years of Magic. It is continually having some of its most successful years of all time. We have more players than ever right now, which is wild for a game that is this old, I think part of Magic's success is the ability to adapt and evolve. And if you look at it over the course of its history, it has changed and evolved so many times, right? I mean, yes, you mentioned the Universes Beyond stuff, which is kind of a more recent evolution we've been doing. But we've evolved so many times, right? Like even the growth of Commander, which is a way to play that's 4-player multiplayer, and you're all kind of playing against each other, free-for-all. That's the thing that's only really grown large in the past 10 years. And now it is the most popular way to play Magic in the world. And so we are always listening. We have our ears to the ground. We're coming out to places like Australia and hearing what players are saying so we can go back and try and make the best game we possibly can. And I think that evolution keeps it interesting for the players and also, frankly, interesting for the designers. Because it's very cool for me to come into work and be like, okay, new challenge today. What are we doing this time? And it never gets old.
With the Universes Beyond stuff, you're also introducing Magic to people that otherwise may not have even looked at it twice. Yeah. It's bringing all these beloved IPs like, you're a Lord of the Rings fan or you're a Spider-Man fan may not know much about Magic or care much about Magic, but now there's this opportunity to look into this whole new world, and it really opens doors.
We were really curious how that was going to turn out, of course, and the results have been so successful to see. Are people going to come in just for this and then leave? Was the thing we were wondering about. And it's so cool to see data showing that people are coming in for Lord of the Rings and then keeping in playing with the rest of the Magic sets, right? Like they just come in and start playing and carry away with it. And you're absolutely right that it brings in a whole new audience. We not only have seen that people are coming in through these sets, just with our data, but I talk to a lot of Magic players, I go to events, and whenever I talk to somebody that started it in the past 2 or 3 years, almost always, maybe 9 times out of 10, it's a Universes Beyond set they started with these days, right? It is, I came in with Lord of the Rings, I came in with Warhammer, I came in with Final Fantasy, whatever your thing is. And that's just really powerful. It's getting these people in, and then once again, they're staying for the whole experience, right? They're not just coming in and bouncing, but I'm sure there are some people that are doing that, but many of them are coming in, staying with Magic because they see it's a great game. And I think that the opportunity, especially with gaming-based properties we work with, is super high, because getting someone who's played Final Fantasy and loves Final Fantasy to come in and want to try Magic, that's an easy sell. It's the best strategy game in the world. Of course you want to come try this,
An example of its growth is, we're looking at PAX. They've had to expand the tabletop area because it seems like more people are getting away from the screens and moving into this big social cardboard factor. Is that, what's the thing behind that? Why are people moving away from digital, back to the basics?
Digital's great, of course. I'll play digital games forever, but I've noticed this as well too. We really saw it, I think, during the pandemic, where a lot of people wanted something to do with a small group of people, right? It's I've got my pod of a handful of folks, and we're gonna all play an in-person game together. And it's really been growing steadily since then. I think it is a great way to create connection with people, right? It's funny, I was talking with a friend recently, and they used the term Magic is the golf of gaming, which I thought was a very funny way to think about it. I find it a lot more engaging than golf personally. No shade on the golf fans out there, but it's true. Like it's like, hey, we're all gonna hang out together. Let's play some Magic. Let's grab our favorite deck, sit down, play some Magic, and also in between rounds or when it's not your turn, we'll catch up on your life, talk about what's happening. You know, it's a reason to all get together at someone's house and chill. And I think that kind of social component is huge. It is absolutely fundamental. And once in the growth of Commander, this like multiplayer way of playing makes it feel more like this like friendly board game than ever before. But I think that really fosters great connection. The creativity is huge. Magic is one of the few things that you can spend more time thinking about than actually playing, right? Like I spend so much time building decks and considering what I'm going to do before I even sit down to play at a table. And in a time where I think many people are like starved for like human connection and activities to do together, Magic is the perfect thing to fill that.
I guess that goes into my next question. What is your pitch? What do you say to people when they're maybe curious about Magic and you got to get them over the line? What is the thing that you tell people?
Well, it depends on the person, of course, and like you know what we've talked about what they think they're looking for. But there's two big things for me with Magic. One is it's one of, in my opinion, the best strategy game ever created. Right? It is different every time. There's infinite room for creativity. There are more possible decks you can build than atoms in the known universe, right? It is like ridiculous how much Magic there is, and with 30 plus years of history, you can dive in as deep as you want or just stay with the newer stuff, right? It's whatever game you want for it to be. It's 100 games in one. If you want to play only the most recent cards, we have a format for you. If you want to play anything in history, we have a format for you. If you want to just like read the lore, we have stuff for you, right? So that's something I tell a lot of people. It's just like, it's this incredible game that is deep and fun, and you'll have a great time with it. But the thing I also like to mention, I think often goes understated, Magic the Gathering. We talk a lot about the Magic, right? It's great. We call it Magic. You and I are calling it Magic back and forth. But the Gathering is one of the most incredible parts of this game, right? We are here at PAX Australia. We're going to walk into a hall tomorrow full of people from all across the Australia and the world who love Magic and just want to sit down and play games with each other. They've never met. But they can sit down together in a pod of 4 people or sit across the table, whatever, and find that friendship immediately. And as someone who's traveled all around the world for Magic, I can go to any game store in the world and make friends. And a lot of my best friends in the world come from this game. Like I was in Turkey, I was walking to a game store knowing nobody, hung out, and we all got dinner together afterward. We still talk to this day, right? And this was years and years ago. So that connection, I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what it is about Magic. Like we can talk about the community and how it draws similarly-minded people and how you have this like automatic topic you can talk about. Like there's all this stuff there, but there's a bit of secret sauce that even I'm not sure I can put my finger on. But man, it is special. And when you walk into that room tomorrow, you'll see the Gathering happening. Well,
Gavin, there's plenty to get excited about. Plenty to come. PAX is going to be huge. Thank you so much for coming to Australia and showing us all the joys of Magic.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I just will say that the Australian Magic community is amazing. It's such a tight-knit group here, and people have so much fun playing it. So I always love coming down here, and I hope to get to come many more times in the future.